Good morning, you guys. It is September 10th. God calling God or Mammon. God even tied Unruffled. I hope you guys are having a great morning. We got God calling God or Mammon. You must be ready to stand apart from the world. Do you want the full and complete satisfaction that you find me in, and the satisfaction of the world too? Then you are trying to serve God and Mammon. Or if not trying to serve, then claiming the wages of both God and Mammon. So God's really asking the ultimate question, right? Do you want to stand with God, right? Do you want to stand on high, right? Do you want to get better as a person? Do you want to get more spiritual? Do you want to grow yourself as a person? Do you want to be gone with all your selfishness, be God with all your worldly ambitions, with all the worldly things that could be corrupting your heart, mind, and soul, right? And do you want to stand higher? Do you want to ascend? Do you want to get closer to God, right? Find me in the satisfaction of the world too. Then you're trying to serve God and Mammon. Or if not trying to serve, then claiming the wages. If you work for me, you have your reward. But then you turn to the world, to human beings, and expect that reward too. This is not right. Do not expect love or gratitude or acknowledgement from any. All reward necessary, I will give you. So God's saying that for you to really give up, right? Like those selfish, those worldly, those man ambitions, right? For you to cast away, right? That just inherent selfishness that we have, and uphold something better, uphold something higher than ourselves, right? And that's ultimately what it means to be a Christian. That's ultimately what it means to be a follower of Christ, right? Are we willing? Are we able to become better people in the eyes of the Lord, right? Become like try to cast away our sin, try to do everything right by the Bible, by Jesus, right? He led by he was the ultimate example. Are we able to follow that example, right? And then lead by example for others, to bring others to the kingdom, right? To bring others to God. That's a really big question. That's a really hard ask because, right, we are on this planet, right? We do have needs. We do need to eat. We do need to sleep. We do need to have kids and do all these different things, right? That are so important to us, right? But God's asking, right? Are we willing to give up the way that we think things should be for the way that God needs them to be, right? God can give us all these things. He could give us food. He could give us an amazing big house. He could give us a beautiful, loving family, right? If that's his plan for us. But regardless of if it is or is not, are we willing to do it, right? Like, there's so many great examples of people who were able to just give up everything and just follow God, like Moses. Moses is one of the best examples, right? He was literally a prince of Egypt. He was a prince. He was who everyone thought Jesus was going to be when Jesus came back. When Jesus was born, right, everyone thought that he was going to be a king of kings. He was going to be born to a temple. He was going to have gold. He's going to have all these things, right? But no, he was born in a manger in Bethlehem, like a manger in Bethlehem. Like, he was literally born in the slums, right? He grew up as a carpenter, like as a woodworker. That's the most common job. That's like an accountant these days. Whenever someone says accountant, you go, oh, I don't want to be an accountant, just like looking at numbers all day. It's so boring. That's what like woodworkers were back then, right? But then we have Moses. Moses was raised, right, as a prince, as a king, as someone who was going to have riches their entire life. They were set. They didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was just sit. And he wasn't even going to be the king. He was just going to be the second prince. So you could just sit there his entire life and just chill, never having to do anything. But no, he gave all that up to follow God, right? Because that wasn't the life God needed for him, right? God put him in that situation to learn, to grow, to become the person that he was going to be, to lead him to where he needed to be. But that's not the life he wanted for him. So God's asking right here, are you going to choose God? Or are you going to choose man? Which one? And you can't have both. You cannot have both. You cannot come over here, serve God, get God's reward. That's what he said. And then turn around, look to man, and also want man's reward. You can't have both. You cannot enter the kingdom of heaven and then also enter the kingdom of the world, right? You can't have both. God even said, unruffled, peace. It is your task to keep this peace in your hearts and lives. This is your work for me. It is so all important because if you lack it, then as a channel, you are for the time useless, right? If you lack peace, then you're a useless channel. God cannot work through you. God cannot serve through you. God cannot touch other people's hearts through you, right? You cannot help and benefit others if you don't have peace, right? It's just not possible. Like Jesus, it's called Jesus is the flowing water. Jesus is the living water, right? And you're supposed to be his pipe. You're supposed to be his pipe that he's able to run through so that he can get and serve as many people as he needs to. And if you don't have peace, then you're blocking that pipe, right? Learn to sense the slightest ruffle on the surface of your lives. Learn to sense the smallest unrest in the heart's depths. Then back to me until all is calm. So you know that saying, like, oh, you struck my last nerve. Like, God's saying, like, don't even let someone strike your last nerve. Don't even let them get to that point, right? Realize when they've just breached the surface, when they've just touched your first nerve, when they're looking at your first nerve with like anger in their eyes. Just notice it then, right? Think some message may be undelivered because I cannot use you. Some tender word unspoken because self blocks your channel. So now he's saying, think of all the possibilities you could be doing in your life if you were able to just be stronger, if you're able to not block yourself, if you're able to not block yourself off from success, block yourself off from God with all of your dumb insecurities or your emotions or your feelings or anger issues you may have, anything like that. Only self can cause unrest. And my great gift to my disciple was peace. He's saying only you can cause unrest. Only you can take away God's greatest gift, right? Which is peace. Only you can take that away from you. So be very mindful of that. Be able to watch out for the signs. And then whenever you feel that coming, whenever you feel it coming on, right? A challenge coming on, go to God and he will keep you calm. He will keep you in rest, right? But you can only do it with God. We cannot do it with our own power, guys. We really can't. We know we can't. We know we've been in so many situations. We know that when the ball gets rolling, it just keeps rolling, right? So stop it. The only person strong enough to stop that is God. I love you guys so much. As September 10th. And with that, I will say amen.